Hey everyone, Brendan here. Looking today at the Bricks Builder 1.9.8 beta, which was released a few days ago. By the time you see this, it might be out of beta, so some things might have changed, but I wanted to look at the variable class manager, which was just added. Sorry, the variable manager, which was added to the global class manager. And so now we can extend our global styles with CSS variables directly in the builder with the UI. If you're not familiar with CSS variables, you can sort of tokenize and um, reuse and tweak globally your spacing, your typography, your colors, sort of anything you want. And we're going to do a look today at making some variables from scratch, and we're gonna turn them into color variables. You can see I have here primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, and these are all tied to variables that create these transparencies. And so I can come up to my variables and click on the variable tab, and I can go to my primary, and instead of 352 I can do 222 and save that, and my primary color will change and all the transparencies will change. And so you have that styling capability to control globally now with the variable manager. So if that sounds like something interesting, just stick around and we'll build this from scratch. And yeah, consider giving a like and subscribe to the channel to help it grow. All right, so if you've used CSS frameworks before, you know sort of like here's core framework. They have a color manager that all updates. You can change your hex values, the HSLs, and all that stuff to manage everything. CSS, ACSS is similar. There's the new panel for 3.0, which is great, and this gives you tremendous power, and it gives you so many different things beyond color, right? So this is not meant to replace that. I just want to give you an idea of what we're trying to accomplish. So everything can sort of be variabilized, if that makes sense. So you can come to like the Utopia scale calculator and create spacing and typography variables, with clamp functions and making them fluid sizing and all that good stuff. So check that out. I'll leave a link to all this stuff, and I'll leave a link to the code that I'm going to show you in here if you want to use these color variables in your own Bricks project with no framework. I'm not going to use any framework. This is all just directly in the Bricks interface. So I'll leave that in the description as well. So I'm going to close that as well, and we're going to open up a blank page. And first, let's go ahead and delete all of our variables, right? I have all these set up. I'm just going to go ahead and delete so we can just start fresh. I'm going to leave these categories in here: primary, secondary, tertiary, and spacing, because we're going to use those later. So you want to be organized and keep those looking good. So let's create some variables. So we have a section here on the page, nothing in it. Let's go ahead and add some stuff to it. Block, just some text and a button. Nothing crazy. We're just going to keep that there. Now, we don't have any spacing in our block. If you've used automatic CSS, you get the automatic spacing in your padding in your sections that makes it look good. So what we can do is open this up, and we can create some variables. So let's just make an easy one like space M, and let's make that 3 rem. And we'll save that. And just to speed this up, you can copy and paste. You can import directly in here. You can paste these in following that format, which is what I'm going to do. And so I'm going to create all these other spacing variables with some rem values attached. You can also import your JSON. So let's get those in there. Now we have all those variables available to us. So let's save that. And I can open up like the section here and open up the layout. And I can go to my variables here. Now I have this CSS icon here. And I have all my variables. I can do XXL and filter this, right? Put that there. And now we have a variable for our padding instead of a pixel value. It's tied to a variable, which means if we ever want to change this value, it'll change globally for us. So now we have spacing variables. Now what else can we do? We want to make some colors, right? So what is a color? A color is a hex value. I'm going to go to coolershere.com, and let's just close some of these. We're only going to have primary, secondary, and tertiary, and I can press spacebar to go through these colors. And we're going to find 3 that are pretty distinct. Those are pretty distinct. Let's use those. So this will be our, let's make this our primary, this crazy red here. So there's the hex value right there. We can see it. And I can, of course, come and put this as a hex value, right? Primary. And then let me save that, and we'll open up this block. Let's get some padding on this block as well. And let's put the background. We'll come in, instead of a hex value, we're going to hit raw, and that'll let us see that there's a new variable picker here. We'll click that, and we can search for primary. And we'll put that in there, and there's our primary color. It's just a hex value, though. It doesn't really help us out too much, right? So we can also get some gap in there. So what can we do if we go back to our colors here? Instead of a hex value, we can select an HSL, and there we have a hue. In fact, let's just give it like let's give it a hue of 2. It's pretty similar. It's in the red family. There's our saturation. There's our luminance. So let's add these to as a hex value. Okay. So let's create more variables. All right. So let's come into classes and variables. Let's make a primary H value for the hue, and we'll put this to 2. Right. I think that's what I selected, and we're going to do the same for the S value for the saturation. And what was that? That was like 69. And then we'll do percent. And make sure you put a percent in there. I think otherwise it will not work if you don't have a percentage. And we'll make primary L. And this was, what was it? 50. And this also, I believe, needs to be a percent. So we'll save that. But our hex value is still tied to the primary. So we need to create, this needs to also be an HSL value, right? So if we do HSL, and then we can put our new variables in here, right? So we can do var primary H, right? And that's our first, that's going to be our H value. And so I'm going to copy that and do a comma, copy and paste that, and do HS, comma, L. And so now our primary is tied to that HSL value, right? So nothing's going to change here. But now when I come to change the hue, if I make this from 20 to 200, and you can see now my color is going to change. And so what I've done here is gone ahead and let me unhide this. And we've got our primary color here, and we're going to add this to the background. So we have primary trans 10, and so we don't have these variables yet. So how are we going to create those? Let's go back to our color variable manager. And so we can create transparencies, right? So primary trans 10, and we can take this HSL value for primary, we can paste that in there. And at the end, we can come back into the parentheses and do comma 0.1. And that will make it a 10% transparency, right? So if I save that, you can see there's our first transparency. Now, of course, I have this pre-added, but you would come and do color, raw, variable, and you can search for primary. And there's the HSLs, and there's primary trans 10. There it is. So let's do that for the rest of our colors. So what I can do is, let's speed this up a little bit with ChatGPT. Can you make me 20 through 90 in 10% increments following this this format? So I'm going to paste my format into ChatGPT. I don't know if we need the dash. I think Bricks amends it to remove it anyway. So we're going to do put that value in there for the 10%, and hopefully it gives us the other transparencies here. And here's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And if I scroll over, we have there our percentages to give that. So if I copy that, go back to our variable manager, and I can go to the import, and I can paste that in. And we've got 8 new variables. Let's save that. There it is. There's our primary. So we have all the transparencies created, and they're all tied to the HSL value. So again, I can come to the primary H value and put that back to, what was it, 2? And we have our colors, and there's our transparencies. So that's basically the gist of it, and hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and do the secondary ones now to, in fact, I won't cheat. I have those made, but I'm going to delete them. I'm going to duplicate, and we're going to change this to secondary. So let's make our second, let's go back to our colors. Let's grab, this is our secondary. So 200, 10, 14. So we're going to need to make new variables. So let's come back to our variable picker, and we have primary HSL and all the transparencies. I'm going to open up ChatGPT again, and I'm going to paste, can you replace primary with secondary in this list of variables? And I'm going to paste in my transparencies, but I'm going to also paste in the HSL and the string for the primary. So it just creates basically just the secondary version of all that. Let's copy this. So this will help us speed up making our secondary. So let's copy that, and we can come up to import, and let's paste all those in. Got 13 new variables. So our secondary is going to look the same because I duplicated it. We still need to change out the variables. So that would normally be a pain in the butt, but now I've got advanced themer to help me out. So let's go back to here. Let's remember it's 200, 114. So if we come up to our variable picker, let's go to our secondary color, and we'll do 200, 114. Save that. And that's now our secondary color. And again, nothing's changed here. So what we need to do is select this block, and I'm going to right click and find and replace styles. I'm going to replace primary with secondary on all the properties inside this whole section. We'll find and replace, and there's our secondary. You can see secondary, and we have all the variables set to secondary. Let's do the same thing. Let's call this secondary, and let's make our tertiary. So this is going to give us the power to reuse this for other projects because we can just change the HSL value to whatever our colors are. So 31, 148 is going to be our tertiary. Let's go ahead, ChatGPT, now replace secondary with tertiary. And we'll make sure we spell things right. And we'll get our tertiary variables to import. And all we're going to need to change are these HSL values up at the top because everything else is tied to a variable. So we'll copy that, and we will open up our variable picker, import our variables for tertiary, import variables. Fantastic. So now we have our tertiary, and that was, I've already forgotten, 3148. 31,148 for the values there. We'll save that. And while we're here, let's just be organized. Let's take our primary, and you can hold shift, select all of those. Oops, select that one as well. I'll drag that into primary, and we'll take our secondary ones, and we will drag those into secondary. I'll take our tertiaries, put all those into tertiary. Save that. Good to be organized. I should take my own advice. All right, so we've duplicated our secondary. Now we need to make it tertiary. Tertiary. Now we need to find and replace on these blocks. Find and replace. We'll do secondary with tertiary. Find all properties within that section. Fantastic. And there we have it. We have our three colors. We have all the transparencies, and you can extend it from here. So there's our primary, secondary, tertiary. That matches these based on the HSL value. So there it is, how to create some variables for your color systems. This might help you extend your already existing framework, or you can try this out, and I'll leave the info to copy and paste this, and you can replace it with your own variable names. So there it is. Hopefully we see this expanding more and more people using it. It's very powerful stuff to have variables at your fingertips and have them right in the builder. All right, thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed. Take care.